Dave Hahn here. We're going to be talking about xlookup, how to use the function. We're also going to do a little bonus, something called data validation, which is a pretty cool trick. So the file that we download, the first thing you're going to have to do is at the top say enable editing and save it, of course, where you can find it, not in your download folder. Okay, so I have several tabs at the bottom. The instructions are here on the last page. I have some test SKUs here, which we will be testing out our if errors in case there's an error and it cannot find the function that we're looking for, how to display that. All right, first things first. On this SKU selector page, we're going to create a space where your client can click on a drop-down list right here of all the SKUs, and then magically will appear the corresponding category, product name, season, cost, ticket price, markup, percent, etc. But first we have to set up this little data validation dropdown. So the first thing we're going to do is, if you haven't enabled editing, do so. I'm going to click on this cell B2, which is where I'm going to put my data validation. And then I'm going to look up here at the top for my data tab. I'm going to click it, and then I'm going to go to my data tools area, and I'm going to look for something called data validation. Now, if you don't see the words data validation, look for that symbol. It's like an empty cell with a green check mark and a do not enter sign. And I'm going to click on that. And it's going to ask me, in my settings tab, it's going to ask me to allow. I'm going to click on this drop down and allow only a list. Now it's going to ask me, where am I going to get the list? So I'm going to click right here where I want to put my list. Then I'm going to go to where my list is, which is product master. And then I'm going to click on column A, which will contain the list of all of the SKUs that I want to put in my data validation. I'm going to hit OK here. And now when I click on this cell, I see a little drop down here with all of the SKUs. Now, something to keep in mind is when we write our equations for the rest of this, it is possible that there is an error. Like we have somebody entered a bad SKU and your boss wants you to find all the bad SKUs. So we'll show you how to also make an if error addition to your function that will screen out or at least flag any bad information. All right, so now let's start filling out the xlookup equations to bring up this information when we have an SKU up here. For B5 here, column B, row 5 for category, I'm going to delete this word category and I'm going to write equals xlookup. And when I see the xlookup pop up, I can double click it and this will show us the argument here and give us little hints on what we need to put in here. First, I'm going to put my lookup value. What am I looking up? I'm looking up this SKU. Right, so I see it up here, xlookup, open parentheses, B2, which is where my data validation SKUs are. I'm going to put a comma now after this. And then it says, where am I looking up this SKU? I'm going to go to my product master tab. And as you can see, when I click on the tab over here in my xlookup equation, it does put product master tab. That's what this little exclamation point is. It's a tab indicator. And I'm going to say column A. Now, if you want it to go on forever because you may keep adding stuff, you can just leave it kind of open. Add a comma. Now I'm going to put where I'm getting my information from, which is the category, column B. I'm going to close my parentheses, hit enter, and there is my category that will adjust to whatever SKU that I select. Let's do the rest. For product name, it's very similar, equals xlookup. We'll look up our B2 value right up here for my data validation, comma, we'll go back to our product master. We'll look at product name, which is column C. Actually, it's B2, our lookup value. Then we're going to look at the corresponding SKU from column A, comma. Then we're going to go to our name. I have to kind of wiggle this around here, which is product master, exclamation point, CC. We'll close that, hit enter. And now as our SKUs change, our categories and name change, let's go ahead and do season and cost. Season will be equals xlookup. We're looking up this B2 value. We're going to go back to our first page. We're looking up our corresponding SKUs, comma. We'll go to season here. And you see when I click on the header, I get that. I'm trying to get in here. There it is. DD. Close my parentheses. Hit enter. There's my season. Let's do cost. equals xlookup. We're looking up B2 value here. We're looking it up from this page in column A, comma, we'll be getting the cost from column E. Close my parentheses, hit enter. And there's that one. Let's do ticket price now. Same thing, equals xlookup. B2, comma, we're going to go back to our product master page. We're hitting column F for, no, we got to look up our SKUs here from column A, comma, ticket price, which is product master tab, column F, close my parentheses. I've got some dollar values here. Let's put those into accounting. What's our markup percent? Markup. So if you remember from buying and planning, we have B9 minus B8 divided by B8. So we have B9 markup percent is equal to, open parentheses, B9 minus B8, close parentheses, divided by B8. That gives us a percentage, 140%, which will change. And that will give us our markup percent, which will change as we select different SKUs. All right, now let's go do our SKU test. Sometimes when people are doing data entry, they might enter in the wrong SKU number. So part of our xlookup here is if you go to the end of our statement and we hit a comma here, we do have if not found is already built in. That would be like an if error. Normally we'd have to write if error parentheses, then put this function in and then put the expected behavior after that function. xlookup has it built in. So after our last argument here, it says if it's not found, we could display a message, right? So I'm going to close this and go back over to our test SKUs. Let's write it over here. All right, first we need to change our expected behavior. We're going to pick one like, let's say cost. Cost, which is column E. So I'm going to go into my test SKUs. We'll write in equals xlookup. Our lookup value will be this SKU, comma, where are we looking it up? From our product master, column A, comma, what are we returning? We're returning the cost. That's column E. Now, if we put a comma here, we can add an if not found message to report an error. So if there's an error, if not found, we can do quote, type in bad SKU, end quote. Let's put that in parentheses. And now it has retrieved our cost. We can get our cost. Now we can type this again over here and we can copy and paste this. Here's a shortcut though. You could just actually click on this cell. Even though it says 2393, we could hit Control or Command C and go over here and paste it. And now we can see, because we added our bad SKU over here, this one, OW999, doesn't exist in our product master page. So let's go ahead and drag these down. These three don't exist. I should have probably mixed them up here, but I didn't. These three are bad SKUs. And that's it. Save your work, upload your work. I'll see you guys. Bye.